Kind of hard to sit still for that one. Alrighty. That is music from the movie Divergent. And if you've seen the movie or if you have read the book by Veronica Roth, you know it's the story of a society that they've divided into 5 factions for everyone to live in order for the community to run efficiently. And each of these factions is based on values. Here are some of them. At 16, everyone takes an aptitude test. I'm not going to tell you the whole plot of the movie, but this is important. And based on values that they think they inherently possess, they decide which faction they'll live in, and they will spend their entire lives with like-minded people pursuing those particular values. Now, it's not much of a story if there isn't a conflict, so of course we find out very early that the main character can't decide which faction she should belong in. There's some corruption. The system is inherently flawed, but there is a concept in there that I want us to talk about today, and that is, what could our lives look like if we consistently based our decisions on deeply held foundational values? It's not hard to see how that could impact big, important decisions, like who should I marry, what career should I pursue, or where should I invest my money? But it can also help in some of those less significant everyday decisions, like which movie should I choose on Netflix, or what should I have for breakfast? Values are simply underlying principles that guide our lives. Here's a partial list of some things that we might consider values. And because we're all wired very differently, some of you will look at those, and there are some that will jump out right away, and you'll say, well, obviously, everyone should have this as a value. And some, if you start to read down the list, won't be appealing at all. We're wired differently. These are characteristics we want to see grow in ourselves. They're also things that we use to choose the relationships that matter most to us in our lives. So you might use these qualities to judge if somebody should be the most trusted employee, your best friend, or your spouse. So values can help us decide significant relationship issues. We all have a variety of relationships in our lives, and some people are closer to us than others. I like to think of it as concentric circles, if you will. And wise and healthy people let fewer and fewer people into those inner circles because that's where we share our most private and valuable information and our thoughts and our feelings. And values are a way that we can help determine who we let in to those inner circles. So if you apply a filter of, say, fun, humor, and adventure, but you don't apply a filter of integrity, honesty, and respect, you might find yourself wondering, why did I share a secret with this person? Or why did I give him so much money? By all means, invite them to a party. They will do very well in those outer circles. That's a great filter. But maybe you know some people who consistently have broken hearts and are having regrets in their lives. It's probably because they've let the wrong people into that inner circle, and they've applied the wrong filters, and so they have regrets. The beautiful thing about values is that they remain constant over time, even though other things, circumstances, may change. So for that reason, they provide consistency and guidance. Every scenario in life doesn't need a brand new filter. And sometimes I think there's anxiety around making decisions because we think we have to start from scratch every time we make a decision, and there's a better way. Because values, if you look at your decisions that you make over time, values will pop up as a common thread in your decisions so that you can make better decisions going forward. As a personal example, anyone who knows me knows that I value learning very highly. So I will always be involved in activities where I'm either doing the learning or I'm helping someone else do the learning. And even though my circumstances and maybe even my preferences may change over time, that will remain constant. So I may be leading a small Bible study in a living room. I may be doing one-on-one tutoring. I might be teaching French in a classroom or watching a TED Talk or standing in a theater with an audience. But learning is always going to be the theme. On the other hand, imagination is not something I value very highly. Lest you be offended, I am very glad that there are innovative people in the world. We need you. I am not one of you. So I am not going to spend so much time or energy pursuing activities and opportunities that expand my need for imagination because I just don't have it. I'm going to go toward areas where I've already had success and satisfaction, and I'll keep making decisions in that direction. So, values can make kind of a framework whereby we can make decisions without moral ambiguity or any kind of angst and tension every time we need to make a decision. Very useful. Chances are, if we're not using values, we're using something else. Some people are wired very intuitively, and you like to make your decisions based on your gut, your emotions. By all means, if that's how you're wired, that is a very important thing to do. However, there are some issues when you run into extreme emotions, like fear and depression or anger, because they mess with us physiologically. They increase our heart rate, and they impair our memory, so they actually get in the way of us making good decisions. So if we make decisions based on the emotions that make us make bad decisions, I think you see there might be a problem. So maybe Spock-like logic is the way to live long and prosper. By all means, I am a huge fan of making logical choices. That is important. However, none of us is as rational as we think we are. Even the most cerebral among us let those pesky emotions sometimes spill into our logical decisions. And when they're simple, we can use a black or white, better than, worse than kind of filter. But sometimes there are weighty, complicated decisions in life, and a pro and con list just doesn't do it. There's a great TED Talk by a philosopher named Ruth Chang, and she describes this dilemma. She says, sometimes when it's a difficult decision, one choice is better in some ways, but another choice is better in other ways. So you're left with this dilemma, and you can't make a decision. Enter values. Because values are a filter through which we can put our emotions and our logic, and then we land on some foundational principles that help us move forward to make better choices. At this point, I'm sure you're saying, but Jenni, how can I do this? I hear you, and I have some answers. One thing that you can do is to ask some questions. I'll give you just a few guiding questions, and then a real-life example. You're getting everything today in 10 minutes. Bam. These are just a few questions that you can ask yourself, looking at your current patterns, people in your life, past experiences, past relationships, to help you. You'll start to see some threads, some themes will come up to the surface, and you'll go, oh, maybe I value blank. What does that look like in real life? Well, I think I have an example that we can all relate to. Perhaps you've seen these two in the tabloids recently. Lamar Odom is famous for being a professional basketball player. Khloe Kardashian is famous for being a Kardashian. She was born into her fame. And ever since October, we've been seeing them a lot because their marriage was just about over, divorce papers almost signed, when Lamar Odom was found in a brothel in Las Vegas, unresponsive, drug overdose. Khloe Kardashian doesn't know what to do. The tabloids are all abuzz with speculation. Will they reconcile? Will they not? Khloe Kardashian has a big decision to make. Let's say she bases that on emotions. She's probably experiencing a lot of emotions standing there in the hospital bed going, look at him, I'm so sad, he's so helpful, he's so helpless, he needs me. Or, are you kidding me? Really? Those are extreme emotions. Should you make a lifelong decision based on that kind of emotion? Probably not good. Let's say she makes a list of pros and cons. I'll consider financial aspects, logistics, practical things that I need to know about. Should I stay? Should I go? Kind of hard not to let those emotions we were just talking about come into play on her list of pros and cons. We all know Selena Gomez was right when she said, the heart wants what the heart wants. So Khloe Kardashian's in quite a pickle. What if, at some point in her life, she established compassion as a guiding principle for her life? Combine that with her emotions and her logic, that may lead her to a very clear choice down a certain path. But what if she's identified stability as a value? That might lead her down a very different path. Values are the tiebreakers in life. When our emotions threaten to cloud our judgment, and the facts just still leave us undecided. If you want more, and I know you do, 10 minutes isn't enough, please send me an email. I have a whole values worksheet. There's so much more, more questions, more exercises. I want you to understand this concept and use it in your decisions as well as Walt Disney's big brother Roy when he said, "It's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are." Thank you.